Welcome. Just getting everything started up. Give me one sec. Welcome to the stream, everyone. For those that are here, I gotta fix that weird camera. Camera's doing something funky. But I'll get that fixed. All right, doors open. Perfect. Yep, so that still feels good. All right, so one of the ideas was enemies, obstacle things. We could do like a fun like bullet hell kind of system. Let's look at the source code. Let's see what we're looking at. New game, a little bit of refactoring. Let's do that while people get on and talking to myself. So for the level editor, I want to be able to just give it a level. All right, so we have our game mode. Hello, pineapple. Stuff that you don't put on pizza. Terrain. I actually want to call that walls instead of terrain. That'll be the next refactor I do. trying to think of ideas on what to explore next. So there's a facet here where I can like start fleshing out the actual like game and the narrative, or I can still continue exploring. Still exploring different mechanics with what I already have. Idea I had was like enemies, dodging enemies. Maybe it's like a bullet hell dodge. What if there was a boss fight? What would a boss fight look like? Things like that. Or I can start fleshing out the story. And of course, I remember you. You're stuff that we shouldn't put on pizza, like pineapple. Lava. Train lava checkpoints. Doors. Buttons. State.lava. So this needs to be state.level.lava. This will just be state.level. Seriously cleans all that up, which is nice. Each one of these needs to be state.level all the things. Same deal here. What are you working on these days, Mr. Pineapple? Sorry, I'm not sure if you're a Mr. or not. What are you working on these days, Pineapple? My apologies. Sincerest apologies. Bad habits, and I apologize for that. I'm just glad that I grew up in Texas, so I don't say you guys. I say y'all, and y'all is great. Like I didn't have to like relearn anything. I just say y'all. So that was a happy little coincidence or serendipitous moment there. Yep, Calc has the wrong arguments. I know. I'm fixing that. I'm fixing all these things. $634. I have the level later. Yeah, I no longer need game mode in there either. Recent things I've been working on or haven't been game related, but I'm doing some interesting things with Ruby. Would love to hear. It's okay, it's not game related. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Being able to work on games full time is nice, but there's always a sense of urgency with it. Threading's cool. 8 threads, that's also cool. Are you using what's it called? Continuations or semi-routines? What's the word? Raptors built on it. I'm completely drawing a blank. The general term is a semi-routines. It's the thing. It's the new thing in Ruby, where it's like async but not async, and you can do like a continue. Using parallel with J8. Got it. That's gonna drive me insane. What is? It's the new thing that came out in Ruby. It's their concurrency thing. Fibers, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. The general term I usually use is semi-routines. They're not coroutines, but they're semi-coroutines. All right, let's see where else I'm blowing up. Syntax error, line. Where's the syntax error? 638. Thank you. Missing comma, game mode. That no longer needs to be there. State.level.game mode. State.level.game mode. Lots of usage of that. Game mode does not exist. Yep. This would be level.game mode. Did I really fix it? Did that fix everything? No, yeah, I gotta do all these. Yeah, so this is the other piece of refactoring that I need to do with the level stuff. I hope the refactoring isn't boring. Like, it's something that I need to do. I know on stream everyone wants to like, oh, work on the new thing, but it's like, yeah, this stuff needs to happen. Terrain, this needs to be level.terrain. Level.terrain. Technical debt is a four-letter word for certain definitions of four. And like that's the facet with, I guess, the way I develop and kind of this more like incremental approach where I don't jump to well-defined patterns. It's just this is the tax I pay, is that I have to aggressively refactor. Level, all that's good. Love will be the next thing. This needs to just be level. Type. Yep. This needs to be level.lava. There's a lot of duplication here. I really shouldn't even be doing this kind of renaming yet, but the incremental stuff's good. Level.checkpoints. Level.doors. Level.buttons. .508. State.level.doors. Game mode. Level.game mode. I definitely broke a lot of stuff. Oh, did I accidentally overwrite all my level data with this refactor? Okay, no I didn't. That's good. Checkpoints are rendering, but nothing else is. Render collision boxes, checkpoints, terrain, lava, doors. All that looks correct. But why are checkpoints the only thing that are rendering? State.level.checkpoints. Load is correct. I immediately regret this decision. I'm just like falling into the infinity right now. I have no floor, I have no walls, I have nothing. It's like nothing's working. Alright, let's see what my game state looks like. Do I have a concept of a level? Train, lava, checkpoints is populated, but everything else is empty. Load level if needed. Oh, they're not nil. That's why. None of these are nil right now. Yeah, it's a helper method. You have state, you have args, you have GTK. All those things are just kind of. I think there's even inputs. I wouldn't recommend. Yep, inputs is also there too. Wouldn't recommend referencing those specific air quotes environment variables. But yeah, it's nice. All right, so I was checking if it was nil or not before populating it, and I guess I could still go with the empty collections for now. But ideally, I don't want to do whatchamacallit. Rely on the collection to be empty for it to be loaded. Yes, states there, so is inputs. Just kind of anything that you would need to like do debug information on. I try to make it fairly trivially accessible. Game mode is there. State level game mode, state level game mode. Game mode, game mode, game mode. Results game mode. All that looks good. I'm getting more stuff. This is exciting. Wrong number of arguments. That's plenty of arguments. Ah, I do need game mode. Alright, fine. Fine, I'll add it back. Game mode, level editor, state, player, camera, mouse. Game mode, level, editor, state, player, camera, mouse. Hey, look at that. Things look to be... buttons aren't working. Talk buttons and... Yep. This needs to be... level dot buttons, and buttons associated with doors. That's all good. That was fairly painless. Alright. What to work on? Enemies, bullets, projectiles to avoid. Do I work on like storyline facets? What is the what what calls to me? What's annoying here is that I can't place a portal like right next to me. Right? It'd be nice. A part of me kind of wishes that I can aim portals while I'm in the air, but it just adds a little bit of complexity to the controls. And I don't know if I want to do that. But yeah, the idea of putting a portal below you is not immediately great. That shift is still kind of weird, but I can live with that for now. I love complexity and bad ideas. I live for that. But yeah, I think that just kind of worked, didn't it? I still need to rename terrain to walls. Let's make that change while you type out your bad idea. Portals don't land until the projectile. Portals don't land until the projectile bounces once. That does add a little bit of complexity. The tricky part there. Oh, I see what you mean. So like, if I want to put it below me, I can shoot upwards and then have it bounce, and then come down. I like that idea. Another approach is like the portal mode could be a straight shot portal, or something that has a trajectory like the ball. So maybe there's two portal modes where one of the portal modes is like it has you can lob a portal. So yeah, the idea of like bouncing once, it kind of has that same feel, or it affords the same ability of being able to put a portal below you. And I think that is an interesting mechanic because, like, what if you could control the portal? So after you shoot it, you can actually move it around. It'd have to move slower, but that would be interesting. All right, so you shoot a portal, and instead of flying straight, or it can fly straight, but you can actually control like where the portal goes. Man, that almost gives you a bit too much power, though. Power's not bad. Power's not necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, so to place it on the floor, you need to bounce it off the ceiling. What if there's a situation where there's no specific place to bounce it off of? I mean, right now that's not the case. Right, so if I wanna put it here, I'd have to shoot it here so that it bounced there. Now if I wanted to put it like below me, we could try it. I think it's worth experimenting. It's not difficult to create that experiment actually. But let me change all these to walls real quick. Wall. I'm down for trying it. Let's give it a shot and see what it looks like. Terrain definition. Ah, crap. What did I break? That's fine. This needs to be wall. Ah, shit. Walls. 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 Wall. That needs to be that rotate thing that Levy was talking about. Terrain. Wall. Walls. Walls. That's annoying. Terrain type, wall, lava, checkpoint, doors. That's all good. Yeah, we can try the bouncing. It's actually should be pretty straightforward to put in there, if I'm not mistaken. And everything's gone. I've lost everything. Why did I do this? This was a horrible idea. I'm back to falling in infinity again. Alright, let me do a search on the project itself. Delete terrain, change terrain type, save terrain definition. All that looks good. Welcome to this. Welcome to the stream, Ferocious Fiend. It's a. I wouldn't wish. When I first started building video games, I tried to kind of cater to like the casual player and things like that. And my first game was my first attempt at like a kind of like a commercial game was when Facebook games was like a big thing, and I created something called like Undead Planet, and the idea was that you would go around like Google Maps, like an actual render of Google Maps, and there'd be like zombies on there that you would click and move around to, and I was trying to cater to like the Farmville type of audiences, and it failed miserably, unsurprisingly. But I think what I found, oh, did I call it wall? Okay, that's the problem. I called it wall somewhere. It failed for many reasons. But what I found was that trying to make a game that I myself wouldn't play was a mistake. Is the long and the short of it. So if you don't enjoy the simple games, you know, you're not going to be able to whatever you develop, it's not going to have the heart, right? it's the weirdest thing. People can tell. Is like this game's got heart, or this game was built with love, and I don't know. I don't know how gamers can feel it, but they can feel it. So so yeah, it's totally fine making complicated games. It's more about controlling the scope of that complicated game in such a way that you can build your entire vision piecemeal, and you can ship early and monetize early. That's the most important thing. But what game were what was your game idea that you felt was really complicated? Welcome to the stream, by the way. Alright, so I did the rename. Let me stage all this. Moved all terrain to top level to level object. Renamed terrain to wall. But yeah, I would love to hear your game idea. Maybe we can like brainstorm and figure out where you're not where you're not like settling for something simpler and something that you're not happy with, but you're still framing it in such a way that it's something you can ship. All right, so bouncing portals. So inside of portals, I have. Have you ever run a Linux distro on your main workstation instead of Mac OS? There's a laptop called welcome to the stream, by the way. There's a laptop called System 76, and I was looking at a System 76 laptop running a Linux distro, but the hardware specs weren't what I wanted, and you know, I'll do Linux virtual machines here and there, but Mac OS just it really is kind of the best of all worlds, primarily because specifically for game dev, targeting Mac OS platforms, Linux, Windows, it can do it all. So that part is really, really great, and it's Linuxy enough to where I'm satisfied with it. I guess that's the best way to put it. Back in college and all that stuff, definitely did Arch Linux, ran that on all my potato machines. But yeah, once I got the Mac, it felt really good. It's a really nice balance of Linux philosophies and then just the usability and the ubiquity of Mac. All right. Yep. M1. So here's my casual flex, right? M1 Max, 64 gigabyte. More info. Somewhere is the hard drive space, but I've got a full 8 terabyte hard drive on this thing, and a Pro XDR for my display, for my primary display. But yeah, when that came out, I put all the little sliders up to max, and hit purchase. All right, intersect, direct. I want collisions with walls, right? Where's my wall collisions? Okay. It's the placing of the portals, orange, blue portal, teleportation facet. Yeah, happy to answer questions about the Mac too, if you got any. Where do I do the... I have no idea where my wall stuff is. It should be in this file. Intersect nope, I don't want to search everything. Where the hell is my portal stuff? Oh, there it is. No, that's the intersection of the player. How are these portals posting? Oh, hey Steph, how's it going? Yeah, the base building ocean setting. I'm still waiting on a release. I've been waiting for literally, like, has it been like 4 or 5 months at this point? It's been a while. Okay, it's called Find Intersect Direct. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay, so we want the collision. We want the placement of the portal if and only if the collision count for the portal is greater than 1. So let's see if we can get that working for the blue portal. It's called Find. It's called Find. That's why I can't find it. No, I think it's an interesting idea, and yeah, we'll see where it goes. It's an easy change. The whole point is to experiment and think about these kind of things, and this is a way to do that. Bounces. I want to initialize that to 0. And if there's a collision, and blue portal dot bounces is 0, then I don't want to place a portal. I just want to flip on the x direction. So in this case, I want to do blue portal dot dx times equal -1. Otherwise, I want to create the portal. And so the X collision is looked at first, and then the Y collision is looked at. So much duplication. I know I need to clean this up. I'll refactor at some other point. Yeah, so I discovered UV it was a video posted about DragonRuby some time ago. With your Emacs setup, can you place breakpoints and debug that way? There are debug facilities in Emacs. I don't use it. I don't use those debug facilities inside of game development, primarily because it's a pain in the ass to have breakpoints on something that runs at 60 frames a second. Like, you put a breakpoint and you'll literally hit it 60 times just to pass 1 second. So a lot of my debugging facilities are built into the game. So I'll print to the console. I'll have in-game map editor, right? So I've got an in-game map editor and like God mode and things like that. And I find that those creating those debug facilities yields more long-term benefits as opposed to doing breakpoint debugging, at least in the context of games. I also have a REPL, so I can if I'm trying to debug something, it's like, well, what the hell is my game state, right? What does my player look like? So I can do that, and I can print out the specific player itself. Another thing that I use for debugging is DragonRuby has this concept of a slow-mo. So I can set a slow-mo factor, and what you'll notice here is that the game now runs not at the full simulation speed. And I can really slow it down, right? So if I wanted to see like a specific collision and how it worked, that's a facet of how I do it. And in some of my other games, what I've done is I'll actually put like the air quotes. I'll put the conditional breakpoint logic in here. So I'd say like if state dot player dot x equal 15, then I would stop the simulation loop at that point. But a part of it is that with respect to breakpoints in games is that it's a pain in the ass to implement them. The other facet of it is that it's a pain in the ass to use them, even if you have it implemented, because of the number of iterations that games go through, and a bug that you might have a bug that might surface, put spammer labels, generally do that, but like a bug that surfaces ends up may have shown up 5 seconds in the past, right? How's the slow-mo implementation to provide reliable simulation even at non-normal speeds? It's all fixed time step, and the slow-mo simulation just on that time step it skips your simulation loop based on whatever your factor is. But yeah, that's how that works. But you can do some pretty fancy things with these kind of facilities in there. And I've gone as far as like having a pause button, and then every time I press space, it would increment by like 10 frames. But those are all like facilities that I end up finding more useful and more sustainable with respect to like a specific game, because you'll build in those debug facilities as you build out the game and deal with problems, and that's how I compensate for not having breakpoints, which again I don't find that useful in the first place. All right, same thing here. Okay, so bounce it, yeah, same deal here. But in this case, I want the blue portal's dy to be flipped. I think that's it. So if I shoot exception, your face, 9:15. I don't update the portal's width or anything. I do need to potentially change. Yeah, maybe I need to change the. Like, even if there's a collision, I still need to like align the box, perhaps. Let's try resetting and see what happens. Yep, just straight up error. So line 18 is where the failure is happening. The blue portal is there. So I guess we're gonna try debugging. Like, what the hell is happening here? All right, so I'll start with actually printing out the blue portal itself. Yeah, spamming the console basically. So it's nil right now, and the moment I press shoot, what do I get? Yeah, the width property is just not set. It's very strange. Let me not initialize the bounces at this point. Let's go into the input where I actually create the portal and initialize the bounces there. I said this was going to be easy. It's never easy, is it? It's never easy. All right, let's see if that gives me what I want. I'm still screwing up somewhere. What did I break? So if I remove all these things, oh, that's why. I still need to check if there's a collision. It can't just be an just a blank statement. I still have to check to see if there's a collision there. That's not correct. It just keeps bouncing. What's going on? Blue portal dot bounces plus equal 1. And same thing here. That ain't right. Yeah, and I think I still need to align it to the point of collision. So I still need to do this, do the axis alignment here. So much duplicated code. I need to stop adding to this mess. But it's fun. It's a new idea. That's the whole point. Pink is pretty, which I agree with. It's a fantastic color. Have you used the engine at all, or it was just curiosity that brought you here? The engine's actually free right now if you want to grab it off of itch. Not what I wanted, but at least it's not doing that crazy stuff. Okay, so the blue portal. I don't want to do the this weird alignment stuff. So if there's collision on the dy and it's positive, I'm going to take the collision's value and then subtract the height from the collision, and not actually embed it into the wall. You piece of crap. Why aren't you working? Blue portal.y. No. I don't want to. I want to subtract the. Wait. That part's correct. Collision y. Subtract the height of the portal. And that should be the location of the portal. And then it should bounce the other direction. That should be it, right? Axis line box collision. Why is it always so hard? Okay, it's not getting there. Why isn't it getting there? I set the portal's dy. I check to see if the collision is there. So, and I check to see if the number of bounces is 0. So bounce is greater than 0. So let's see what's happening here. Okay, it does go to bounce first, but the moment it goes to bounce, it then immediately goes bounce greater than 0. dy is positive. So the position in the blue portal should be the point of that collision minus the height of the blue portal. That seems to be correct. Let me do minus 10 just to see if that ends up doing what I want. Nope. So let's try this. So this is like one of those faculties of potentially debugging. So I'll do outputs dot. I want to go into the scene, and I want to add to primitives. And what I want to add to the primitives, I actually want to add to static primitives. I want to add to static primitives every time. So if blue portal, then I want to put the location into static primitives. Otherwise, I want to just clear them out. And what I want to put into the static primitives is the blue portal. I want to merge that with the blue value of 255 primitive marker of border. And what I expect to happen is that the moment I shoot this thing, I'll use the global variable because this is just debug code for now. I'm not too concerned about it. So what I expect is to see like an onion skin of the trajectory, which I definitely don't see. Why not? Because I need to go into camera space. Chimera. 2 camera space needs to take in the player, and I'll go ahead and access it globally to get the camera itself. So that's the merge. Primitive marker is that. Okay, so that's the merge. That needs to go inside of 2 camera space right here. Alright, let's try this again. Please give me the onion skin. No onion skin. Adding 2 outputs. Okay, it says you're adding 2 outputs. Why aren't you showing up then? What if I just set it to primitives? Pineapple, this is turning into a horrible idea. This was supposed to be easy. This is a failure on my part. Okay, so the red is showing up, which is good. So let me do this. I'm gonna put it into after for each portal reference. I'm gonna do blue portal dot. Yeah, I'll do the merge here. Into after images, and then I'll just I'll just render the after images. Yes. What idiot made that quote? We do these things not because they are easy, but because what dumbass thought of that stupid quote? Raise his hand. It's like, never do it. Just, if you think it's easy, it's not going to be easy. It never is. Camera dot 2 camera space B player state dot camera. Please give me something. There we go. All right, so there's our collisions right here. So if we look at the flow, there's a blank space here, and then it shifts up there for some reason. So that's kind of weird. So inside of the same after images machinery, at the point of collision, yeah. So here we're saying so the collision is going to be on the dy, right? So if a collision occurs, if collision before I shift anything around, I want to add that collision point. The thing is that I've said this before. We do these things. I've actually that's when people ask me, you know, why I take the time of doing something as ridiculous as building DragonRuby. That's my response. Like, we do these things not because they're easy, but because we thought they were going to be easy. All right. So that's the point of collision, and then I like shift it up for some reason. So why is the shift happening? Let's go ahead and put this in here. In the same, I can go ahead and move that down into this area, just to see if I can understand this trajectory a little bit better. I always want to render the after images. I put in the blue portal. I increment the dy. I want to place that new value in there again. I have the then I do the intersection. I determine I put the portal in as a red marker denoting the intersection. And then after that, what do? I update the portal position here. And then I want to put it one more time here. So this gives me all the stages. When it's not colliding, before I apply the speed delta, I put another instance after I applied the speed delta. In the event of a collision, I'll put a solid marker there, and then I put one more solid marker for the final location. Let's make the dy orange. So this is the dy collision here. I hope this debug technique is helpful. It's something I've used quite a bit. Right, so the portal is shot. We change the dy. This is the trajectory. After the dy changes, this is the point of the collision, and the portal boxes are off from the terrain, but here's the point in the terrain right here. So I have the terrain, but the point that it's redirected to is right there, and that's very strange. Y'all seeing what's wrong? Portal is in place. I generate the image. In the event of a collision, let's also put the collision itself in there. And I'll make the collision some other color. What else do what the hell do I do here? I'll do path equals pixel and I'll set the alpha value to like 80%. R, and I'll also make that red. So we should get the point of collision at that point. I mark at that point of collision. I've got 2 red boxes, which makes it, so I'm going to make this one orange. It's going to be something stupid. It's going to be one line. It's like, why didn't I see that line before? Right, so this is the body that it's colliding with. Again, my terrain rendering is off, and I know that. Yep, so there's the collision right there. And on the point of the collision, I reposition the portal incorrectly. DY is positive. The portal's Y position should be the point of the collision. The point is at which the collision occurred, minus the height of the blue portal. Which seems correct. Alright, let's do one more thing here then. I want to add a line. I'm going to add a horizontal line. The X value will be the player's X value minus 1,000. The width will be 1,000, just large enough. And the Y value will be collision.y, and the red value will be 255. And the primitive marker will be a line. So we should see a horizontal line. I'm expecting the horizontal line to be like right there. I don't even know if it wasn't even centered. Welcome 6 people. Welcome to the stream where I'm struggling with axis align box collision. Where's my line? Player.x, x2 will be player.x plus 500. Y will be collision, the point of collision dot y. Y2 will be the same. Collision dot y. All right, and this is not aligning to the camera space because I don't take into consideration lines at this point. Everything's broken. I'll make it a solid. A very thin solid. X position will be the player's position. The width will be 600. The height will be 5. And the Y position will be collision.y. Shit upon shit. This is how games work. Still nothing added. Adding line. Look at it this way. By the time you've got it worked out and playing with the idea isn't fun, your code will be less broken. It's true. It's true. You just get a general better understanding of it, and then whatever issue I end up finding, I'll make a mental note of it and not fix it. But yeah. No, I agree. Why is it saying bounce is greater than 0 though? Bounce equals 0. I hope it at least reaches that point. Okay, bounce equals 0 definitely happens. And at that point, I take the X position to be that, width is this, height is that. All that looks good. I'm adding it to the after images. Let's actually look at the values in there. $state dot after images. Dot each do a puts a. This is not helpful. And I think, like, pretend you set a breakpoint, and this is the information that you see. It's like, how is any of this useful? All right, let me add one more marker to this. I'll add at the beginning. ID is like, this will be the line. Cry for help. Is it not even adding the... Where's the value? Where is it? Why isn't it there? I'm adding the line, aren't I? Why am I not seeing it say add line? What? dy is not less than 0? Oh, fuck. Of course it is. I'm multiplying or... Ah. There it is. I need to align it to the box before I do the freaking multiplication. I need the alignment, and then I can change the dy value. Yes, we found the issue. The issue is that I need to quit development and start a, I don't know, a fish farm or something. There we go. All right, so there's your bounce. There's your portal bounce. So the issue is that I was, when bounces was 0, which was good, what I was doing was I was immediately changing the dy. And then after I changed the dy is when I did the alignment to the terrain. But at that point, it's going to align incorrectly because it thinks it's supposed to align to the top as opposed to the bottom. And there you have it. And I'm going to have the same problem here, so I want to put that above. Right, so dx bounce, boop. And then I can do the same thing with, let's say the Y portal doesn't do that. I don't think that's terrible. Let's try it in like a air quotes real situation. This code is repeated 4 times, and I'm still not fixing it. Why? I don't know. I can't give you a great answer for that. I should fix it. I'll clean it up afterwards, I swear. Copy paste this code. And put it here. And instead of blue, name it orange. Copy paste this code. No, I'm not going to extract it into a method, because that would be the smart thing to do. We don't do smart things here. We put crap upon crap. There's the bounce for that, and that didn't bounce. Orange portal bounces. Orange. Let's try this again. Bounce. Bounce. All right, that worked. Okay, so let's go back to my little test area. I reset instead of getting out of God mode. Let's go back to the test area. But instead of resetting, just exit the terrain editor. Okay. So we've exited the terrain editor. And I'm like, all right, I can't get to the door. Let me make sure I still can't get to the door. Right, so the door is unlocked right now. And if I shoot up, and I can't make it in time, right? The door is closed before I could get to it. So I gotta be like, all right, I gotta add this damn portal. So you shoot up, bounces down, which is nice. And then I'm going to add an orange portal here. Shoot upwards, bounces down. And the error is on line 130. Okay. So the door is unlocked. I didn't get through it in time though. That's fine. And now I'm going to die and go into the lava, which is also fine. That's okay. Alright. Door's unlocked. Pop into the orange portal. Pop through. I like the bounce. I think I like the bounce. Because if you want to put the portal, well, yeah, if I wanted to put the portal like right next to me, I can now bounce it, right? Boop. And I can put it right next to me, which is nice. It solves that problem. And then if I want to put it directly above me, why is it still blue? This should be orange now. That was a bug. It's fine. Alright, so if I want to put it right next to me, bounce, right next to me. And if I want to put it above me, I aim below, and then put it above me. Are the outlines of the objects flickering on your screen too, or is it just the stream? No, they're flickering because these are all like these borders are 1 pixel, so they're sub-pixel rendering, and because I'm trying to render subpixels on something on a logical surface that isn't clamped to pixel perfect, you get that shimmer. But it's an artifact of the debug and moving around, right? So if I zoom out, you're gonna see that same like flicker, because it just, now this is zoomed out and it's like my border's 1 pixel, but you're not aligning all the terrain to be on whole numbers. So SDL tries to render subpixel, and it can't. But that's why you're seeing that. It's a pretty effect for what it's worth. I like this. I like it a lot. What if you can't? What if you can't shoot below a certain angle? You can. You can always shoot below. I want you to be able to shoot below, because being able to shoot below allows you to shoot above. Yeah, you'll see these kind of artifacts in games. If they're not taking, if they have a game that kind of is like pixel artish and they're not taking into consideration that their movement and the aspect ratio and the screen resolution can cause these kind of shimmering artifacts, this is exactly why. You can use blending. If you don't use like if you set your scale quality to 2, you'll get some anti-alias blending, which resolves that. But if you're making something that is air quotes pixel perfect, you have to align everything to a whole number. Otherwise, you're going to get the shimmer. I like the bounce a lot. If they don't know what they're doing. Do any of us, did you just watch me code? Does it look like I know what I'm doing? I have no idea what I'm doing. What really ticks me off is when people say, "Oh, can your thing support pixel perfect?" And it's like, yeah. I mean, you can use any engine to make it pixel perfect, but it's on the onus of the developer to make sure they're making a game that can support pixel perfectness. Shit, now I have this issue though. So the bounce allows me to put it on the left side, but I have no way to put it on the right side. So I have the same problem, but instead of being a problem of verticality, it's now a horizontal problem. So that would mean manually rendering a pixel perfect sprite rather than deferring to OpenGL kind of aligning. So a couple things you would have to take into consideration is one, you want to make sure that your rendering and the positional information for a specific sprite is always a whole number. So you can't set your player position to 120.5 pixels. It's got to be 120 pixels. That's one facet of it. If you're gonna have zooming and scaling, your zooming and scaling has to scale your sprites by a valid power of 2. So your sprite zoom has to be at 1, 1.25, 1.5, 1.75. It's got to be at those 25.25% increments. Otherwise you're going to get that subpixel facet to it. Another thing is that your sprites themselves also have to be a power of 2, so that when a 32 by 32 pixel sprite is scaled to 1.5, that still leaves you with the whole number if my math is correct. So 32 and then 1.5, and then you multiply that, you get 48 pixels. So those are the constraints you're working with. Now, there are shaders that exist that remove the shimmer. But yeah, 32 goes to 48, and then 32 multiplied by 1.25 should also be a whole number, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's 40. So the problem is that if your zoom is is percentage based, you can't create your camera zoom to be at 10%, at 110%, because at that point the scale of your sprite is no longer whole pixels. So you have to pin everything to whole pixels, and then any zooming or scaling that you do within the game has to scale by 25% increments. Otherwise your game won't be pixel perfect. But at the end of the day, honestly, no one cares. Like, Celeste is a beautiful looking game. Is it pixel perfect? Probably isn't. They're probably the same rendering artifacts that exist in that game. But yeah, people get really obsessive about it, and it's like, people don't know what they don't know. They assume that it's simple, but there's a lot of prep that goes into making something pixel perfect. But yeah, the bounce mechanic fixes the up and down aiming, but now I've lost the ability to shoot at this wall. I've gained the ability to shoot at this wall, but I've lost the ability to shoot at this wall. Everything's terrible again. But hopefully that explanation helps understand pixel perfectness. And there's another aspect of pixel perfectness is that there's trade-offs. You cannot, like, if I can't. So imagine, like, if I had a spaceship, and your spaceship is mirrored on left and right side. Well, let's say, like, the spaceship comes to a point. That point can't be 1 pixel, because if you've got 32 pixels, how do you position the center of the spaceship? So the center of your spaceship has to be 2 pixels. It can't be 1. So there's, like, caveats and facets to the actual assets that you generate when they have to be powers of 2. On top of that, so you can't have, like, symmetry at a 1 pixel line. It has to be a 2 pixel line of symmetry. But yeah, these are things that add complexity to, air quotes, true pixel perfectness. Yeah, plenty of pixels bleed over, and I've literally had developers say, "Well, Celeste, I want to make a pixel perfect game. Can I do that with DragonRuby?" And it's like, yeah, I mean, if you want to make a pixel perfect game, you can do that. But what is your definition of pixel perfect? And they go, "Oh, like Celeste." And I'm like, Celeste looks really great. It looks beautiful. Is it pixel perfect? No, it's not pixel perfect. And that's good news. You don't have to make your game pixel perfect. Just make it pretty. Don't make it 1 pixel borders that shimmer. Just don't do that. Yeah, if you want pixel perfect, 20 is not a power of 2. It will not work. Game over. All right, Pineapple. That's our problem, though. I solved the problem of setting a portal next to you, which is nice. Right? I can set a portal next to you, but now I can't set a portal here. There's no way for me. Well, actually, you can. If I want to set the portal here, I'd have to bank it off of this wall to do that. But it can be done. You just need a ceiling. Yeah, you need a ceiling to bank off of. Right? And it ends up happening. It's a weird mechanic. I mean, portals are a weird mechanic anyways. but it's kind of a weird mechanic. Weird is good. Weird is not a bad thing. But it's weird. That's so awesome. You know, your 7-day rollout time just ended up being a bad build. Yes, yes. It was so horrible. I had so many hopes and dreams for that game. It just, I'm like, this game sucks. Why is it like this? Why is it so horrible? Let's not speak of that 7-day roguelike debacle again. It's just, let's pretend it never happened. That's a fun little mechanic. I like the bouncing. All right, I'm done. Bad billiards. If this is gonna turn into a billiards game, I'm done. Why do all my games turn into horrible billiards games? This is just that hurt. I feel seen. All right, let's go with the bouncing portal mechanic. I think that's interesting. It has stood the test of time. I agree. Billiards is a fun game, but I'm gonna be known as the guy that just builds billiards games. I hate you. All these puns. First the insults and now the puns. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Oh, this is gonna be a fun. Oh, you can pass it, like you can pass through what? Wait, why can't I pass through that? That's because it hit the top. But you could actually put a portal on you can put a portal on either side and make a little pass through. Obviously, I think I like the bouncing. I think. What do y'all think? Is the bounce interesting? Is it dumb? Is it dumb in a bad way? Boop. I don't hate it. It kind of solves the problem, right? Of being able to put a portal next to you. You put a portal like above you like that. I mean, it's good. I think it'd be useful if you had the control over the number of bounces in an intuitive way. Yeah, I think that's what I was worried about, was that when you get this portal power, you're like, oh, I can shoot a portal, and then the moment you try to shoot it, it bounces. And you're like, wait, why did it bounce? But that is satisfying to like get the aim just right. Portal positioning is the thing I need to work on anyways, but yeah, being able to control the balances sounds something, and then it's like, now I'm adding complexity to the controls. Do I want to do that? Or is that just the quirk of the portal? It has to bounce once. Okay, another problem. Another problem with the bouncing. Alright, I wanted to add the ability to put portals like in hazardous terrain like lava. And so this lava doesn't have any kind of like ceiling above it. Yeah, I think having it having it do the bounce is fine. I'm just thinking about how having that constraint changes what's possible with the levels, right? So if this lava, if I wanted to add a portal here because I want to make it like safely traversable, I can't do that unless I put away. Well, I guess you can bounce it from here, right? If you want a portal in the lava, you could bounce it off of this, and boom. It does make you feel smart when you figure it out. Yeah, I think having the single bounce creates some interesting problems and like things that you have to think about. Yeah, portals right now do survive checkpoints. That was on accident, but I agree, it's a cool mechanic because you could set a portal, literally die, and then be at a position where you've got a portal already set, but you can set another portal to maybe like get back to where you were. And that's less code. I don't have to code the reset of the portal. I'm fine with that. So this is fun, right? So I've set the blue portal, and now I'm gonna go here, and then down this whole like terrible terrain. And it's like, oh crap, how do I get back up? I can go through the portal. Boom. That's so badass. That is so cool. Whoop. I'm here. I like that idea. Okay, next thing I want to fix. What I should be fixing is refactoring the code that I just wrote. But what I want to fix is the camera. It shouldn't just like pop to the pop over like that. It should be like a smooth transition to the other portal. So I have a current camera offset X. And I think the target offs. Ugh, how do I do this? Because I wanted to smoothly like lerp over to the other camera. And I do it. It happens when you die, right? Because when you die, you'll notice that it pans back over instead of like just immediately going there. So I've got this concept of death offset. And the death offset decreases by a specific amount. I could add a camera. You're feeling extremely extravagant, of course. You could have two cameras at once and a mask circle probably, which allows transitioning between due to portals for glowing circle transition. Do you have an example of that, like in a video or something? That'd be interesting to see what that looks like. I don't think I can quite visualize it. So what if I had yeah, I mean I could just do I can call it a lazy follow. Lazy follow X and lazy follow Y. Set both of these values to where do I initialize these variables? Inside of camera, I'm assuming. Yes, look at that. Modules, they're the best. Alright, so lazy follow X and lazy follow Y will always integrate to the current player's location. Okay? It always integrates to the player's location. Let me see where I do the calculation of the game. So I have the player's location at this point. I'm going to use that as how do I set this value? All right, let me. I think I know what you mean. Yeah, that's sick. Like both parts of the level are visible during like the Star Wars swipe. Yep. We actually have a sample app that does that, like a split camera approach. It can only split vertically or horizontally, so it can't like kind of do a weird like merging thing. So in the event of a death, I set in the event of a death, yeah, so I can do the same thing in the event of a portal. That works. Teleport or portal offset X. Portal offset X and portal offset Y. So when you use a portal, excuse me. Right. So when you use a portal, I know that I'm going to teleport you. And at that point, I can do I pass the camera in here? I do not. I'll cheat, and then I'll refactor if it looks good. I swear I'll refactor it. So current player location. I want that to be player.x, and y will be player.y. All right, let's look at this. Let's look at this fancy GIF. Oh yeah. You almost want some like the Batarang music, like in the old Batman when the Batarang shows up, like da-da-da-da. The mask wouldn't be too difficult to do. Let me see how. Once I get this implemented, y'all tell me if it looks good. All right. So I have, in the event of an actual like a thingy, a thingy, a teleportation occurrence. I look at the from portal and to portal. I'm embarrassed about this code too. All right, I know it's a lot of crap. I know it's a lot of code. I get it. I promise one day I'll refactor this. It's like, why is this if statement so long? Where does it even end? Is that the end of the case statement? I'm gonna follow this back up. This is how the pros do it. This is how you know. Okay, so I'm gonna go all the way here. There's the end of my if statement. All right, so the player has moved at this point. So I should have a current player location at the point of a teleport. No, I put it in the wrong place. It's totally here. Right, so if I teleport through, yep, I see a print. Cool. So I should be able to put the player location before the teleport, and then the player location now. And these values should be different. Where's the syntax error? What syntax error? There. Yes, those values are different. Groovy. Okay, so now that I have the values, I want to set the camera, and then what did I call the property? Portal offset. I want the portal offset X to be the original location minus where the player currently is. And then the offset Y will be that. And this should be called player location before portal use. All right, so I have the location before the portal use. So now, how do I integrate on the death? So the integration on the death is just that. Cool. So this would be portal offset X and Y. It's a teleport event, but is it a teleport event, or is it a traversing through the portal event? Ignorant asks, is this a thing? The teleport event. I know there's an event loop, and I've seen and used callbacks as a quick demo. Is there anything special to events, or was that just LOLs in pseudocode? Yeah, it's just pseudocode. So the caveat with events, another rant, is an arbitrary eventing system is non-deterministic. When you, just to pick on, what engine would you like me to pick on? I'm going to pick just the first engine that comes to my head, Unity. All right, so Unity has an eventing system for clicks, for collision when they enter, when they exit collision, and all those facilities. It's non-deterministic. You have no idea when that collision event occurs relative to the other to other events. It's just like a complete. I'm sure you can figure it out, but it's a complete like unknown on which event events happen and fire before other events. And what happens if you change it? What happens if you add a node? What happens if you wire up another event? How does that change the order? So there's no eventing facet inside of DragonRuby specifically for that reason. Is that you can have a queue of actions and events that occur, and you decide which order those things occur in. Of course, it's up to us. Well, so here's the thing: if they occur in the same frame, so if you have a collision event that occurs, and you do some kind of transform based on that collision event, should another collision event occur if the transform took it out of that other collision event? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe all the events occur. And if that's the case, then what if you wanted to short circuit one? Like you want one collision to occur, but if that collision occurs, then this other collision should not be processed. Let's say like if you're attacking an enemy and at that same time the enemy attacks you, you want to give preference to the player and say if the player's attack hits, then the player themselves don't take damage from the enemy, even though the enemy was attacking. How do you do that? It's easy to process both the death of the enemy and then the health deduction on the player. But what if you wanted to be kind to the player and let them win that tie? That's where these like situations of events propagating cause issues, and if it happens non-deterministically. If you want to process all events, great. But if you want to process events conditionally and with priority, now you got a problem. You can set up your own eventing, yeah, but then you're rolling your own eventing anyways, correct? At that point, you're rolling your own events. State.camera. What did I call the damn thing? Camera. Portal offset. Portal offset Y and portal offset X. So I think this will work. We said this about portal bouncing. What is that? What the hell is that? It kind of worked. Oh wait, I don't want to add it to the player sprite. I want to add it to the movement of the camera. How's the camera positioned? I don't know. Is this where I do the camera positioning? Maybe I do it there. Oh, I actually have the camera here. That's awesome. That's kind of what I want. That's sort of what I want. It's an out-of-body experience, yes. What the hell am I doing here? Alright, the render of player It's weird that I'm doing the camera. The camera is handling the camera space. Why am I doing this in the player though? Because the player is where the center of the action occurs. That's weird. And there's one other thing that I want to get kind of working. So the camera zoom is controlled. It takes the player's location when determining the camera. So if I do that, but I put in the... Let's get it halfway working, and then we can figure out how to get it entirely working. And creating your own eventing system is not difficult. It's not difficult in Ruby, I should say. That's not what I wanted. What if I subtract instead of add? I should quit while I'm ahead. Alright, so I need to get the camera stuff kind of positioning. It kind of works, right? You kind of see yourself come out of the portal, but you're just kind of like floating in midair like that. I'm doing some shenanigans with the sprite location of the player. I think that's one issue that I shouldn't be doing. Right, this right here, where I'm rendering the player. Like I want the probe always in the center of the screen, but maybe I don't need to do that. The player sprite. Yeah, why don't I just use the camera space? Like, why am I doing this mutation of the player like this? What if I just did player.x -8 and player.y -8, and then camera.to camera space, and manipulate the player like that. Wrong number of arguments. I need the player and the camera. There we go. That's kind of what I want. And then what I want to do is not subtract -8. This actually makes more sense too. The camera's going the wrong direction. Right? Yeah, it's going the wrong direction. Do I want to subtract? I'll read the chat in a second. Let me see if I can get the camera going in the right direction. So I should pan over. Yeah, that works. Okay. Concern of slow climb as the small velocity requires a re-jump. I think the camera will need to go much faster. Account for the surrounding awareness. Like even in the cell, you're already on top of it recently. Yeah. The thing is, I actually want the camera to zoom out based on the distance of how far the player is. But this is good. Like all that weird crap that I had about the player and its render location is actually that weird -8 crap that I had in there. That actually is looking good. I should zoom out based on how far the player is, and I think I can fix that. Let me see if I screwed up the death animation though. No, the death animation looks good too. This is a good change. Let me. This is a good checkpoint. Work in progress. Camera movement. On teleport. So the last thing I want to do, the final thing I want to do to the camera is based on the distance of how far the offset is. I want the camera to zoom out, and that's what I was playing around with. The zoom value is here. And I'm only taking into consideration the speed of the player. And what I also want to do is take into consideration the teleport distance, I think. So if I do state.camera, and the calc camera needs to be put in that module anyways. Another refactor point. Portal offset X. And the same thing here. This is totally going to work. Yeah, that makes sense. Ridiculous. That's exactly what I wanted to do. It's to give you motion sickness. What if I subtract instead? Oh, hey, wait. Is that kind of working? No, that definitely. I don't even know if it's zooming in or out. What is that? Do I want the absolute value? Yeah, I want the absolute value. That's what it is. What is this even doing? Okay, this was a bad idea. I'm just like grasping at straws at this point. All right, so, oh, okay. There's a minimum zoom level for the camera. I'm going negative. Is what the issue is. Yeah, because I want to clamp the camera. So let me put the let me just print out the zoom of the camera. Yeah, I'm going to a negative value, and that's, yeah. See, I'm at negative 55. That's the issue. That's why you're seeing this madness here. Okay, I'm gonna go into this mode. So how far? So maybe the min value of the zoom should be. Let's try 0.5. If state.target zoom is less than 0.5, then we want to set it to 0.5. And I think that will actually fix the camera. There we go. That kind of worked. Did that definitely didn't work. Like, what? Did it work? All right, let's try a smaller integration of the actual, because I'm doing a 90%, I'm doing a very quick movement of the camera. Where am I doing? Yeah, so I'm bringing it in by a square of 96% or 98%. So I think that's like a smooth stop or something. So what if I integrate at just straight linear? Let's see how that changes the movement. What if I set the minimum even, what was it? I did less than 0.5. What if I set it to 0.25? You still kind of lose context, unfortunately. I mean, for this, it's not terrible, but a little bit of context is lost with that large of a traversal. But if I do something maybe a little bit shorter, did not mean to do that. There we go. One there, and then wherever that is. That was also weird. I'm getting closer, but this is still not right. All right, so I'll let my subconscious deal with that, but let me show you eventing real quick. All right, you have your function. Well, sometimes you just gotta let your subconscious kind of do its thing. Okay, so here's my whatever, right? Collision events, right? Well, collision's pretty straightforward in that you're basically saying, like, if I wanted to test if a player dot sword dot intersect rect enemy dot sword. So this is how you would let the player win, right? I'm not testing these at the same time. There you go. There's my eventing system for picking whether the player's sword hits the enemy first or vice versa. Right? And if I wanted to process both of them, then it would be this. That's essentially what your eventing system looks like. And it's deterministic, right? If I want them both to happen, there I have it. And let's say if there's a situation where it's like, well, what if the player .x gets gets updated here because they used a portal, and now, but I still want this to process. Well, at that point, you would have something within a volatile variable in your state that's like, player location at beginning of tick. Right? And then you would use that to determine the intersection of the player. So no matter how the player moves, at the start of the frame is what you want to base all of your collisions off of. So that's the way you can do that. Another option that you have if you want to have like a generalized event system, you could have events like an event queue. Set it to an empty array, and then I can add to this array. I can say this event happened at this frame, the type of event that occurred, right? Collision, and then let's say frame 100, and then whatever metadata that you want to, whatever context you want to have for that event, whatever event args you would potentially need, right? So your event args would happen here. So now this event queue is in place, and then if I want to see like all events that need to be processed, all events to process this frame will be event queue. You want to find all events where the timestamp is equal to the current frame, right? And this will give you all the events that you need to process right here. The cool thing with this approach is that, let's say I'm on frame 100, I can actually stage a future event. And this also gives you data transparency, right? I'm no longer wondering when events occurred and in what order, because this is just data. It's just data. So I can print this out on every frame and say, at this point in time, this event was added in the future by 200 frames. And then you can do your processing of your event wherever you want. You could have a post-tick event queue and a pre-tick event queue, and then you know exactly when those events are going to occur. There is a callback functionality, but it only stores one. It's more of like a helper method for testing. It only stores one event. But this is the general approach you would want to take with eventing. You control exactly when those events are processed. You could say like all the events in this queue get processed at the beginning of the tick. All the events in this queue get processed at the end of the tick. But you have complete control over that, and it really is trivial. I know it's hard to believe, but this is it. This is the code, right? So now you can do whatever you want here. You've got your events. You can process them however you'd like. Yeah. So when and I understand like the eventing mechanisms, like click events or collision events. They feel automatic and it just works. And it feels like a lot of work to create such an eventing system. If all you see is like the handling of event in C# versus it not being handled, but inside of the runtime, this is what they're doing. They're just collecting those events that were created, and then enumerating through them, and then firing whatever function to handle your event. The thing is that the problem is with that eventing system is that you don't know when those events occur. You don't know the relationship to those events. You have no control over it. And then the unfortunate response is when I ask people, like, well, what if you wanted to have a collision event where one collision occurs, it short circuits and doesn't invoke the other collision event. Well, then you roll your own, and it's like, okay, well, this is how you roll your own eventing system. Chris said, I think I figured out Mercury Vortex Engine. They need a lot of power to work, but they produce a lot of lift. Oh, similar to anti-gravity ride and fair. Spin creates lift and thus weightlessness. I would love to see this in action. Yeah, and right, Chris, you can K Fisher, you can do some meta programming on top of that, and invoke a callback by invoking ascend on a specific object. But yeah, and we're cheating. This is the power of Ruby, right? This is the power that Ruby gives you that other languages just they don't have those facilities, which makes this kind of machinery more complicated to create. But there you go, events. There's your eventing system. And when I started using Ruby, it's like, it can't be that simple. It's got to be more complicated than that. And it's a nice facet of Ruby. It really is just that simple. That is all kinds of broken. That's so stupid. I gotta figure that part out. I think my brain is poop at this point. I'm gonna revert these changes, pretend that they never happened. This was all a bad idea. But I think the bouncy portals was a good idea. Yeah, one portal. I go across the world. See, this works perfectly. It zooms out exactly how you would expect it. Why this works, I can't tell you. Why the other thing doesn't work, I can't tell you that either. Alright, there's my other portal. And this transition isn't terrible. You lose a little bit of context because of how far you're traversing, but I'm assuming if the portals are like just kind of next to each other, it's so nice to be able to put portals next to each other, right? If they're next to each other, then it looks great. No, it actually does not look great. That looks stupid. Why is it doing that? Okay, that's an indicator of what I might be doing wrong. So here's the camera movement. The camera change that I made, I'm subtracting the portal offset and the camera offset, and I'm wondering if that's incorrect. Should the camera be here? Is that where the camera needs to be? Let's call it intuition. This is not grasping at straws. This is intuition at play. Totally intuition. That's weird that the camera, like, it just goes into like this weird space. What if I subtract instead of add? What if I subtract the y and add the x? What if I add the y and subtract the x? I have no idea what I'm doing. I think this is a good. Well, at least it doesn't have to do with the actual zoom. I think the camera shift is incorrect, and I think that's the problem. The weird thing is that I have the death camera working perfectly. Right, so if you're all the way over here and you die, look at the zoom. Right, it's contextual. Everything makes sense, and I thought I copied and replicated the code for the camera, but I think yeah, my brain is broken at this point. Let's catch them on tap. NASA lawn engineers, NASA lawn ion engines are an improvement of traditional mercury vortex models. Ancient Indian Vehemens used urine and bamboo for the mercury taconite confinement. That's rocket scientist stuff. I have no idea what you're talking about. You're way smarter than me when it comes to that. I actually just introduced .NET after Ruby this past week, and he's basically the joy you spark. Yeah, it's crazy. And it's hard to put. It really is hard to put into words. Like, and I gotta figure out that bug. I don't know what's going on there, but it really is hard to put into words. How good the language feels, I guess. More fancy scientific stuff. Magnetic flux transfers, events are actual portals. Use the flux point of the frequency of the portal is emitting to determine when the particles will end up. Portals are opened and closed every day. Actually, that is terrifying. Try to divide the y by the x. Yeah, I think I just yeah, it's like 1 a.m. over here, and I think my brain is just a wad of mush right now. It's so weird that the depth offset works, but for some reason this weird camera stuff just it refuses to behave. Yep. So if I remove the camera, we're back to square one where you get a awkward teleport. It's like, why does the depth offset work though? Why does that work? I'm gonna make one more stupid idea. And if this doesn't work, I'm calling it. We're done with the stream. Portal. So portal offset X. Let's see how I set the depth position. The depth position takes the destination and the current player location. Okay. So the portal, is that it? Do I have it flipped? I think I might just have it flipped. Player offset X and player offset Y. So, but what I'm going to do is that you're either teleporting or dying, but you can't be doing both. So if I did this and just set it to the depth offset, does it actually work? No, which is great. Oh, I'm setting X in both places. That's why I was getting that weird shift. All right. Let's see if the portal looks good now. Yeah, you take some time and rant about eventing systems, and then you come back and everything's great. Is there an issue with the order of the calcs between death versus portal? Yeah, the thing is that the death offset X will always be 0 if the player's alive. It integrates pretty quickly. So you're either portal jumping or dead. There you go. That's exactly what I want, right there. It's beautiful. Okay, so in that case, this needs to be portal offset X and Y. And then everywhere where I'm doing the death offset, I'm going to do the integration on that just like I do. And then here I'll do a plus of state.camera dot portal offset X and camera dot portal offset Y. I broke it again. How did I break it again? Where's the integration? Yeah, there's my integration. There's the portal offset. Ah, I'm not doing it here. It's annoying that the autocomplete doesn't work there. Alright, this is totally gonna work. There we go, look at that. Boom. Yeah, and then you don't lose context or anything. That feels good. Yeah, and if the portals are right next to each other, which we can now do because we bounce portals like a boss, it should feel pretty good too. Yep. Smooth as spaghetti. I don't know. You're setting super fluid spacer. Of course you are. Simply being cavitation regions, giant bubbles suspended in a fluid, interacting and reacting with the pressure, oscillations around it. With the dilation in play, our universe is a flash in a pan. Our universe is terrifying. I really wanted to get into like go back to school and get my like physics degree so I can get into like quantum computing and just some of those facets of thing. I've read a lot of like nonfiction stuff about all the universe things, and it's just there's so much to understand and appreciate about what we don't know. But yeah, I have a reading comprehension of a 6th grader, so there's only so far I can take that. Yeah, I think this is good. we covered a lot. We did debugging. We got a cool balance mechanic in place. We added some like additional camera stuff. Solved a couple of problems. Added some new ones. Talked about eventing systems. What it means to be pixel perfect. All good things. This was a good stream. Ship it. With the global variable reference in play. This is fine. We'll fix it later. We will definitely refactor this. Camera movement on portal. Change half baked but working. You better refactor this. No, really. Cool. But yeah, I think all the facets of the mechanics are in a pretty good place. And I'm debating on like starting to incorporate art and the narrative and the progression and all that good stuff eventually. But yeah, I think this is a good starting point for mechanics altogether. And yeah, happy ending to the stream. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I appreciated the questions and sticking with me through all this madness and the good ideas. Never regret streaming. Always get a lot accomplished. And I hope it was informative for y'all too. Probably take a break from streaming till I might stream Monday. But after that, yeah, I'll be seg faulting for a little bit. But hopefully I'll catch y'all then. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for hanging out. GG indeed.